And Mlb, I mean, he has power stuff, man. He throws regularly above 100 miles an hour. I believe he had like 13 or 14 pitches that were at least 100 miles an hour on the radar gun in his first start, which is more 100-mile-an-hour fastballs than his entire team has thrown all season. He did in that one start. You can only face who's in front of you, and he's pitching pretty well. I think if you get taxed for Max Scherzer being on the mound, he has that name, like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You think you're getting taxed, but you're actually getting this underdog. Chris can't lay minus 310. They're a huge road favorite here. I mean, obviously the Dodgers are the way better team. Offense, bullpen, starting pitcher, they have every advantage here, but you can't lay a price like that. The Dodgers. What's up, everybody? It's Toad. Bettor Off Dead. July 1st. That means I get to be straight now again instead of gay. Welcome, everybody. With my new intro, I'm kind of thrown off here with the transition from the intro to the show. Yesterday was terrible on the show, so what a great way to end Pride Month with an 0-4 day yesterday. Luckily, I'm not betting these. As I continue to point out, I am conserving my money, being risk-averse right now, but I think that might have made my June a losing June. I don't know. It's close because I'm still hovering. I'm just below the break-even point on the year if you just count everything that I've been doing this entire time. Cincinnati and Boston, I mean, that under was dead immediately. The Red Sox, what did they put up, like a 7 spot in the first inning against Chase Burns? There were some errors there. I think Burns was tipping his pitches, man. I think that's what was going on there because the Red Sox, they figured him out real quick. And I think if you watch what was going on there, it looked like he was squeezing his glove more when he was going to throw the slider. So the players seemed like they could distinguish between when it was going to be a fastball and when it was going to be a slider. Not good. So that was not even close. The A's and Rays under was not close either, as that game had a bunch of runs early. I was shocked. Both starting pitchers did terribly, and I thought they were both going to do well. I think each of them had one of the worst outings of the season in that same game. And then Michael Wacha in the Kansas City game, he had his worst outing of the season pretty much as well. So all of that happens on the days that I want the under. I mean, what are you doing to me, man? That game still should have gone under, by the way. Kansas City, Seattle, under 7.5 is what I gave out on that. That was a 6-1 game into the 8th inning, and Kansas City put up an extra run for no real reason to make it 6-2, and that's what put the game over. That's bullshit, man. That one should have happened, the under there. There was just one bad inning, basically one inning where Seattle put up some runs, and that was about it. And then San Francisco didn't get there either. Ryan Nelson continues to pitch better than I think that he will, so he keeps throwing me off. Logan Webb pitched fine as well. He pitched well, but he got a little bit outpitched by Nelson, which I did not expect. The game was still close. It was 2-2 late in the game. You think that once it gets to that point, maybe the team that's the better team is going to be able to get it done, although Arizona does have the better hitting. But again, I'm thinking the pitching is going to get us there with San Francisco, and that didn't happen, which is going to make me look like an idiot because I went against some professional bettors with that one. And I thought I was on the side that was getting more of the professional money in that one too. Let's forget about it. Let's have a good July, man. We're coming into July 4th. Hopefully everybody's going to be doing something fun at the end of the week here. Grill some burgers, man, some dogs, shoot off some fireworks, go to the beach, build some huge fires, which is what we do like in my hometown, even though the cops have kind of tried to ban it since probably when I was in college. But yeah, man, back in high school, whatever, we used to go to the beach in my beach town, and there were just massive bonfires lining the beach. It actually looked really cool up the beach, but there was just too much drunken mayhem, basically, and the police were like, we got to do something about this. But come on, man. It's just let people have fun. Anyway, yeah, July 4th coming up. It is one of the more fun holidays, to be honest. So, because of what I just said, let's get into today, man. We're WNBA. I talked about this game yesterday because I'm an idiot and I'm not used to the WNBA having days off. So this Indiana-Minnesota game I talked about yesterday is actually today or tonight. So Minnesota is actually not going to be on a back-to-back. The line up from 5 to 6.5 now in Minnesota. Now, it looks like Caitlin Clark, there's a potential that she's coming back. in this game. But I mentioned that yesterday when Minnesota was around like a 5-point favorite. I was like, oh, that line is kind of indicating Caitlin Clark's probably coming back. But now the line's like 6.5, 7. I don't know what that's indicating to us because she's still a game time decision. So if Clark comes back, I would say probably you want to look to the Minnesota side because it's that reverse injured player spot. When Indiana gets their star player back, the chemistry changes again. They have to get used to her back in there. And she actually was having some bad games leading into her current injury as well. So probably would lean to the Minnesota side if Clark is coming back. I don't want to actually try to play it, though, and we don't know if she's going to come back until tonight. So I don't really want to give that out as a play or anything like that either. But highly unlikely I'm going to put my money on this game. But that is the situation there. And Minnesota, the one issue there is that they just blew out Connecticut. So even though Connecticut sucks, still, you beat anybody by almost 40 points in the WNBA, scoring over 100. You're going to be feeling a little bit high on yourselves too. But even so, I don't think Minnesota's going to overlook when Caitlin Clark comes into their place, assuming she is going to play. Let's go to baseball here. We have Yankees, Toronto. Toronto won yesterday 5-4. Toronto did use more of their bullpen yesterday, so the Yankees' bullpen is probably in better shape here, even though I would probably say overall Toronto has the better bullpen. But the rest scenario, I think, favors New York a little bit. And the Yankees do have Max Fried pitching today, who was their best pitcher. 1.92 ERA, 0.94 whip. I mean, based on his career stats, you got to think these numbers are going to get a little bit worse at some point. But he is good, and I never really want to bank on him not doing well. And he is in form right now with a 1.91 ERA and 34-5 strikeout walk ratio in June. Against Toronto, he has good numbers as well in 59 career at-bats, a 203 average allowed, 467 OPS. So there's no way I would want to try to fade Fried in this game here. As far as his splits, I skipped over that, but I think his splits are, they're like very insignificant. He's good whether home or away. He's up against Kevin Gausman, who has a 4.21 ERA, but a pretty good 1.06 whip. So he is better than his ERA would suggest. He is a little bit worse at home, though, with a 4.54 home ERA. He was having a bad month of June. He had a 5.46 ERA in June, but then his final start in June, 8-inning, 2-hit shutout with 6 strikeouts, 1 walk against Cleveland. So that might indicate maybe he's coming back into form, but that is just one start against a bad offense. So it could mean not that much, and it could mean he is going to get bombed by the Yankees here because the Yankees are pretty good, and they did hit him pretty well in April when he faced him. He gave up 6 runs against the Yankees in 2 2/3 that time and walked 5 guys, so that is not a good sign. Gausman, career against the Yankees, 186 at-bats. They've seen a lot of them. He's held him to a 247 average, which is pretty good, but an 814 OPS. A lot of home runs have been hit against him. Aaron Judge, 14 for 41 with 6 home runs and 9 walks against Gausman, although he has also struck him out 18 times. So Judge is basically, he's very hit or miss against him, but Judge does well against him. Multiple Yankees hitters do pretty well against Gausman, so I would not want to bank on Gausman against Fried here. Probably the Yankees are the side you want to look towards here. They have the better starting pitcher. They have the better bullpen and the better offense, or not the better bullpen, but the better bullpen rest situation. But the Yankees are very public, and that's the problem here is that public is always going to be on the Yankees, and also you're going to always lay too much of a price on the Yankees. And I think that's why we've seen this line move from -165 to -156. I think it's more just professional bettors are basically just saying, well, Gausman is not that bad of a pitcher, and this line is just too much to be laying on the Yankees on the road. 93% of tickets, 93% of the cash. So I don't want to put money on it. I will not give that out as a play. It's just, I don't see any value in playing the Yankees here, but I do think that the Yankees probably will win this game. And if you do want to bet on the Yankees, probably you'd want to be looking towards like either going Yankees over their team total or going with like Yankees run line maybe or something like that if you wanted to actually do this. I do think they have the matchup edge throughout this game, though, pretty much. And the total's down from 8 to 7.5 now. Money coming in on the under, 58% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the under, which makes sense from the Fried perspective. Maybe not so from the Gausman perspective. So, again, that does mean that the Yankees' team total is probably lower than maybe what you would expect. So, might be worth taking a shot on the Yankees team total over. San Diego at Philadelphia. Philadelphia shut them out 4-0 yesterday. A nice start from Wheeler. I think Wheeler got them 8 innings yesterday. So Philadelphia, their bullpen is in decent rest shape here, and they have been pitching a little bit better as of late, whereas San Diego has been overly working their bullpen recently. Their bullpen, I think, has gotten a little bit worse, even though generally I would say San Diego does have the better bullpen. I don't mind how the Philadelphia bullpen sets up in this game. Philadelphia, again, they did get the win yesterday, so San Diego might be a little bit pissed because a lot of times when a team got shut out in their previous game, they will come to play in the next game. But looking at the starting pitching matchup, Nick Pivetta, pitching for the Padres, 3.36 ERA, 1.03 whip. He's having a good season. He's been significantly worse on the road, though, with a 4.5 road ERA, with an ERA 2 runs higher than it is at home. He is coming off of a good start at home against a bad Washington offense, though, and at home where he pitches better. He had 10 strikeouts, no walks, and a 7-inning shutout against Washington. Very good outing. So does that mean Pivetta is bouncing back? Because he had a bad June otherwise. 4.71 ERA in the month of June. Not great. But it does mean, at least in his last start, it might indicate that he's starting to come back into form. But just like I said with Gausman, you have that one good start. I don't know if there's that much that we can really take away from that, especially when it was against a bad offense. And now Pivetta is stepping back up in class, facing a really good offense. And his numbers against Philadelphia are not very good. In 69 at-bats, 19-13 strikeout walk ratio, 275 average allowed, 984 OPS. This Philly team has hit Pivetta pretty well. He's going up against Christopher Sanchez, who is pitching well this year. 2.79 ERA, 1.16 whip. Sanchez, a little bit worse at home, though, with a 3.24 ERA, but that's still good. Sanchez is also, he is in really good form right now. He had a much better month than Pivetta did. Granted, he didn't face very good offenses in June, but even so, he had a 33-6 strikeout walk ratio, 11 strikeouts and no walks in his last outing at Houston, allowing 1 run in 6 innings. Houston, I mean, they're a good team. I mean, their offense isn't terrific, but it is a pretty good team. So that's an impressive start from Sanchez, 1.85 ERA in the month of June. So I think Sanchez is the pitcher that's in the significantly better form out of the two of these starters. And against San Diego, he has good numbers in his career, 43 at-bats, 13-1 strikeout walk ratio, 209 batting average, 599 OPS. So Sanchez, I think you got to lean towards him and towards Philly in this game. The problem is the market seems to be very much disagreeing with that. So I will not recommend it as a play, but I was thinking about it. It was on my short list, the Philadelphia side here. Either run line or money line. You might want to do one of those things where you split half on the -1.5 run line, half on the money line, or you could go with a -1 run line. Because I do favor Philadelphia in this game, but the line's down from -175 to -158. Philadelphia getting 61% of tickets and only 52% of the cash. So the public, they still like Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia has a good offense. They've been playing well recently. San Diego has kind of tailed off quite a bit. But it would be Philadelphia or pass for me in this game, man. I don't agree with the market read here. San Diego's been terrible on the road, by the way. They're 5 games below 500 on the road, or 20-25, whereas Phillies are 27-14 at home. So you're looking at a team that's good at home against a team that's bad on the road as well. So again, I think Philly has pretty much all the advantages in that game, except that their bullpen technically, like on the season, isn't as good. Royals, 4 hits last night. And my under still didn't hit in that game, Zach. Like, what's going on here? The Royals had to put up that extra run to ruin it. And Walker had to have one of his worst starts of the season. David, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. No, I don't think I would agree with that. The Royals can't hit at all, man. I mean, Red Sox at least, Red Sox are having some fun, man. Did you see the game last night? Mlb Wnba for the Red Sox did something that's only been done, I think, 4 times ever in Major League Baseball history and hadn't been done since 1958. The last time anybody did this was Roger Maris, who was the only really famous person on the list, I think, did this in 1958. What Mlb Wnba did yesterday, he had an inside-the-park home run and a grand slam separately in the same game. That's crazy, dude. It might never happen again. I mean, if it does, maybe it'll be like 5 decades from now. So that's like it's like Halley's Comet or something like that, man. That's something that you will only witness once ever. I know the Red Sox suck. Their pitching is terrible, but they have a lot of young, exciting hitters that makes them fun to watch, whereas Kansas City has no hitting at all. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Red Sox are a more fun team to watch, man. I think there's probably no debate on that. And again, like I said last night, Mlb Wnba, that was crazy. Jarren Duran's got 30 triples and 30 home runs in his first 500 or fewer than his first 500 games with the Red Sox, which that had only been done 3 other times in team history, I believe. Or maybe, yeah, I think it was 3 times. And it was Babe Ruth, Jim Rice, and Ted Williams were the only other players to do it. So Jarren Duran in a very good company as far as that speed-power combo is concerned. All right, Minnesota at Miami. I'm going to give out a play on this, and I actually like the total and the side in this game, but I'm going with the total under 7.5 Minnesota-Miami. I mean, first of all, you have both teams not with very good offenses. You also have, I know Minnesota's bullpen has been struggling. Miami's bullpen's not very good, but because both bullpens are rested, neither team played yesterday. I think that helps with the under. You know me, I like to go with unders. A lot of times I'm looking for unders in interleague games. We have a lot of interleague games today because the hitters are less familiar with the pitchers a lot of times. And in these games where you start a new series and the teams had the day off yesterday, that can kind of like hurt the hitting timing a little, the hitters' timing a little bit, and it can rest the bullpens. So I like when that happens as far as setting it up for an under. That's where I'm looking here, and obviously I'm going to be looking at the starting pitching matchup here. Miami's also in a bad spot. They're a bad team in a bad spot. They just went out to the Pacific Coast, swept the Giants, and then they swept Arizona. They've won 7 games in a row somehow. So maybe I'm wrong that Miami is going to be trying to deal at the trade deadline, but I still don't think Miami thinks that they're going to make the playoffs or anything like that. I mean, they're still too far behind, man. Miami, they're returning home from a road trip. When you have a bad team returning home from a road trip and they get into this distraction spot, a lot of times the distraction's a little bit exacerbated for that bad team. So I do think Miami's in a bad spot. So I'm also leaning Minnesota in this game. And Minnesota, I think they're going to be a little bit pissed right now, man. I mean, they got pretty much blasted by Detroit. They are coming off a Sunday night game, which is what gives me a little bit of hesitation on wanting to recommend the Minnesota side here. Coming off a big Sunday night game against Detroit, that can still kind of hang you over a little bit. So instead of going with the Minnesota side, I am going with the total here. But Minnesota could be a little bit pissed, man. And they're continuing a road trip and just getting out of Detroit. Forget about that. If they were starting a road trip, I might think it's a little bit of a better spot for Minnesota because when you start a road trip, you tend to be really focused. But again, Minnesota coming off that big Sunday night game, facing Tarek Skubal in that game as well, could put them in a little bit of a hangover spot as well, and I think that might affect the hitting as well. And neither team hits very well anyway, like I said, so I'm liking how this shapes up for an under here. Looking at the starting pitching, Joe Ryan pitching from Minnesota. He's probably their best starter. I don't even know what happened to Pablo Lopez. I haven't seen him in a while. Is he hurt? I don't know. But Joe Ryan, 2.86 ERA, 0.89 whip, having a really good season. His home road splits are almost the same, so there's no real difference there. He's in form right now with a 3.49 ERA, 32-11 strikeout walk ratio in the month of June. So he did walk too many batters, but in his last 4 starts, he didn't allow more than 3 earned runs against anybody. He allowed 4 earned runs against the A's in June in that really difficult stadium to pitch in. So I'll give him a little bit of a pass for that. That's a very hitter-friendly park, and he's only allowed 4 or more earned runs twice otherwise during the entire season, and those games are both really early in April. So Joe Ryan has been good pretty much all year. I don't think I have to really belabor that, but in his most recent start, he had a 6-inning shutout against Seattle with 8 strikeouts and no walks, 3 hits allowed. So he had a really clean sheet in that game. Didn't walk anybody, so that's a good sign. I think Ryan, we could say he's in good form right now, and he is stepping down in class to face a bad Miami offense, who, by the way, somehow have never faced Joe Ryan before. I don't know how that's possible with Ryan having been in the league for a while, though I know he's been in the AL, but still, Miami has no hitters that have ever seen Joe Ryan. So I think that helps Ryan as well. When you have a lineup that's unfamiliar with you, you tend to do pretty well against that lineup, man. The first couple times they have to face you, they have to adjust to you. So I think Ryan has an extra edge as far as that's concerned. He's going up against Edward Cabrera, who has a 3.78 ERA, which is good. 1.37 whip is not good. Cabrera definitely gets a little bit too wild at times. But Cabrera, I mean, his home road splits aren't very significant either. Cabrera hasn't been as bad this month, though, although, again, he's walking too many guys. So what am I even saying? He has a 21-10 strikeout walk ratio in 4 starts in June, 2.89 ERA. Yeah, he's been walking too many guys, but he allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start in June, and he allowed more than 2 once when he allowed 3 runs against the Cubs going all the way back to the start of May. Cabrera has been consistently not allowing runs, so I think that's good. He's a hard thrower, man. He's a good strikeout pitcher. And up against Minnesota, he's held them down, man, when he's faced them in the past. They have 26 at-bats against him, a 192 average and 596 OPS allowed. So Cabrera has done well against this Minnesota offense. So I'm going to go under in this game. The total's low for a reason, man. The odds makers are kind of telling you something. It's dropped a little bit from 8 to 7 pretty much, or 7.5, excuse me. You want to get it under the 7.5 if you can. 7 is a key number in baseball. As I keep saying, it's that run that breaks the 3-3 tie. And money is coming in on Minnesota as well, up from -135 to -146. Expecting that Miami's going to be in that distraction spot coming back home. 65% of tickets, 83% of the cash on the Minnesota side. So I don't disagree with Minnesota either. I just prefer the total here, under the total. We'll go with it. If you want to go under first 5 innings and just go with the starting pitching, I think that's okay as well. You'll get it under probably. I think there are under 4s out there right now for first 5, so that's not really that bad either. St. Louis at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just swept the Mets. Oh, and they beat St. Louis yesterday and shut them out 7-0. So Pittsburgh, this is really, really ridiculous, man. Pittsburgh has won 4 games in a row, and Paul Skeens did not start any of those games. And the game before those 4 wins, Paul Skeens started and Pittsburgh lost the game. And now Paul Skeens is pitching today, so it's crazy. Does that mean Pittsburgh is going to lose? Are they going to have a 4-game win streak without Paul Skeens involved and have that book ended by 2 losses with Skeens on the mound? I mean, it could happen. St. Louis probably not happy about losing 7-0 yesterday. They got Andre Pallante on the mound. St. Louis does. 4.43 ERA, 1.35 whip. Those are not good numbers. Home road splits are not very significant. He has been limiting the damage, though. In his last 4 starts, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs. In the month of June, 18-6 strikeout walk ratio. He had 1 really bad start against Kansas City, 4.91 ERA in the month of June, but he was starting to come back into form a little bit. So he's not really pitching his worst right now. And he just faced the Cubs, man, and now he's stepping down in class to face Pittsburgh. Pallante has done pretty well against Pittsburgh in the past. I mean, their offense is not good. 63 at-bats against them, 190 average, 609 OPS, because he has allowed 2 home runs to Brian Reynolds, and he has a 15-9 strikeout walk ratio, so that is too many walks, but overall Pallante has not been bad against Pittsburgh. He is going up against Paul Skeens, though, who is obviously the better of the two. 2.12 ERA, 0.91 whip. Skeens has been a little bit worse at home, though. 2.56 ERA at home, which is still not bad. He's coming off his worst start of the season, where he gave up 4 runs in 4 innings pitched, and all 4 runs came in 1 inning. So other than that, he was still pitching pretty well. I mean, overall, obviously, he's pitching well, but his walk numbers have gone up as he's walked on 9 guys in his last 3 outings, which isn't really that great, with 18 strikeouts to go along with that as well. But still, 9 walks, again, not that great. 2.05 ERA, 33-11 strikeout walk ratio in June. Not that bad, though. And against St. Louis, he has good numbers and 92 at-bats. They've seen a lot of him, but he has 20 strikeouts, 5 walks against them, 217 average, 562 OPS. So Skeens has done well against them. Pittsburgh is favored, and I do think you're probably laying too much of a price, man, because it's a tax for Paul Skeens, man. I mean, Paul Skeens is on the mound. The line's going to shift probably too much. So maybe there's some value in fading Skeens. The line has gone down from minus 170 to minus 159. 64% of the cash, though, on Pittsburgh, it looks like, according to these numbers, and 60% of the tickets on St. Louis. So it looks like St. Louis is still the public side here because they do have the better record, although the public, you would think, wouldn't really want to fade Paul Skeens, but it does look like the public is against him and the cash is coming in on Pittsburgh. But because this is a team sport still, man, and St. Louis is better as a team than Pittsburgh is, maybe Pittsburgh should not be favored by this much. And looking at the pitching matchup, it seems like an under could be worth a look as the total came out at 7, which is very low. But, of course, you have to adjust for Paul Skeens being in there. Maybe the total's over-adjusted because money has come in on the over, and it's driven it up to 7 with heavy juice on the over. 68% of the tickets, 71% of cash on the over. I'm not quite sure I'd agree with the over, though, in that game either. Although neither bullpen is very good, so you have to worry about the bullpens if you want to go under. I mean, maybe a first 5-inning under could make sense in that game. I mean, it's not a game that I consider to be playable, though. So those are my thoughts on that. Detroit is at Washington. Washington is returning home from a road trip, and they went to the Pacific Coast for a long road trip to the Dodgers, San Diego, and then Anaheim. So they were in Southern California the whole time. But again, when you have a bad team like Washington returning home across the country, 3 time zones, a lot of times that team is not going to do well in that game coming back home. Again, it's a distracted spot, even though they do have Detroit coming in, who is one of the teams with one of the best records in baseball and looks like a legit contender. So maybe because it is Detroit, Washington won't be like totally distracted here. But it is still a bad spot, returning home from a road trip, man. Detroit, they're starting a road trip. They were just at home. They just beat Minnesota. Big divisional series, though. So how focused is Detroit going to be starting a road trip against Washington? I don't know. Usually when you start a road trip, you are focused. But when it's a bad team like Washington, you're coming off a big divisional series, maybe you won't be as focused. Jack Flaherty's pitching for Detroit, and he has not been pitching well recently. Season numbers aren't even really that good at this point. 4.8 ERA, 1.23 whip. He's been way worse on the road, too, with a 6.17 road ERA. That doesn't bode well. His numbers in June were not good at all. 6.84 ERA in 5 starts. Detroit lost his last 3 starts. He had a 28-16 strikeout walk ratio. That's pretty bad. He pitched pretty poorly in June, man, especially in his most recent 3 starts. He was not good, and it was not like he was facing like the greatest offenses. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Athletics. I mean, that's not good. So I don't like how this sets up for Flaherty, even though he does have good numbers against a pretty weak Washington offense. They have 62 at-bats against him, 15-5 strikeout walk ratio, 210 average, 672 OPS. So Flaherty does have good numbers against Washington, but I think his really bad recent performance, I think, kind of trumps that. So I don't like Flaherty coming into this game, man, but I don't like Trevor Williams either for Washington. And, of course, we know Washington has a terrible bullpen as well, worse than Detroit's bullpen. Both teams were off yesterday, by the way, so the bullpens are rested at least, so that's something to take into account. Williams, 5.65 ERA, 1.47 whip. His home road splits are very insignificant, but he has not been good. In the month of June, 18-5 strikeout walk ratio, not too bad, but 5.55 ERA, and he allowed way more than 1 hit per inning, so he was getting hit hard. He was not pitching well, so he's not in good form either. Up against Detroit, I believe he does not have good numbers. 31 at bats. Actually, he does have good numbers and 31 at bats, but most of Detroit's lineup hasn't even seen him before. 194 average, allowed 580 OPS, and the majority of Detroit's hitters have actually never even faced Williams before. So that might mean Williams might have a little bit of an edge just because of the unfamiliarity aspect of it. And Detroit is probably favored by too much, man. I mean, they've gone down actually from minus 155 to minus 149 as a road favorite, but I'm not sure they should be favored by that much with Flaherty on the mound the way he's been pitching recently. 54% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on Detroit. So the money looks like the cash percentage is coming in on Detroit. I think you're laying too much of a price for Detroit on the road. The total's gone up from 9 to 9.5, 70% of tickets, 74% of the cash. That might be more of the way to lean here, even though we do have rested bullpens. Washington's bullpen isn't good. Both pitchers are pitching poorly right now. So I could see that game being more of a high-scoring game. And the odds makers put that out at 9 for a reason. that total, thinking it probably will be a higher scoring game. A's are at Tampa Bay. A's, Rays, which was one of the games I got completely wrong yesterday. Terrible, terrible game. Well, it was 6-4 because both bullpens did their jobs yesterday. The starting pitchers were way worse than I thought they would be. So both teams had to use a lot of their bullpens yesterday. So the bullpen situation, not very good coming into this game. Springs is pitching for the A's here. 4.30 ERA, 1.24 whip. Not great numbers. He's been a bit better on the road, getting out of that horrible AAA stadium the A's play in. 3.98 ERA on the road. Not too bad, but I tried taking a shot with the A's the last time out, and Springs didn't pitch that bad, but the A's got him no run support behind him, and the A's lost pretty badly in that game. Their bullpen was terrible, so that is something to keep in mind. The A's bullpen is a liability constantly. They're maybe the worst bullpen in all of baseball. Springs against the Rays, they're 0 for 8 off him lifetime, although they have 2 walks, no strikeouts, but he's been pretty good against the Rays in a small sample size, and the Rays do not have a whole lot of familiarity with him. He's going up against Shane Baz, who is a roller coaster. It's like he either pitches really well or he sucks, and there's almost no in between. 4.37 ERA this year, 1.26 whip. Baz has been worse at home, though, 5.7 ERA. And talking about the A's, this game not being in that A's stadium, but it is in this spring training stadium that Tampa plays in right now, Steinbrenner Field, so it is also a hitter-friendly ballpark. So that might not help Springs, where Springs has been a little bit worse at the A's stadium. He might not do well in this stadium either, even though it does mean at least he's used to pitching in a stadium like this. Baz has given up a lot of home runs, man, 14, and it hasn't even mattered home or away. He's given up a lot either way. Baz is coming off a really good start against Kansas City, although they're a terrible offense. 8 shutout innings, 3 hits allowed, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. Excellent start for Baz. Prior to that, he was a little bit shaky, although Tampa has actually won 7 straight starts of his, and they won all 5 of his starts in June. He had a 31-13 strikeout walk ratio, which is too many walks, but a 3.26 ERA, so he was pretty good in June. He is limiting the damage at least, even though he's been too wild. Up against the A's, they're 1 for 11 off him with a walk and a strikeout. I mean, not a whole lot to see there, and no extra base hits. So both pitchers fairly unfamiliar to the opposing hitters. So the way I would probably look at this, I don't want anything to do with the bullpens being used yesterday, the A's bullpen being terrible. I'd be looking to a first 5 inning under in this game, probably because both starting pitchers have that unfamiliarity going for them, and they're both pitching okay recently, even though they're both pitchers that could do bad in any given start, though, so it does worry me a little bit. Total's gone up a little bit from 8.5 to 8.5 with juice on the over, but I think first 5 inning under might be the way to look, and you definitely don't want anything to do with the bullpens if you go under. Cincinnati at Boston. Red Sox got the win yesterday, 13-6. Both bullpens saw some usage yesterday, especially Cincinnati, because Burns basically couldn't do anything in the game, which is crazy because I think Burns is a very good young pitcher. Crochet actually didn't have the greatest start, but he was good enough. Very high-scoring game yesterday. Coming into this game, we have Brady Singer on the mound for Cincinnati. And by the way, I don't think either bullpen is that good here either. Singer has a 4.31 ERA, 1.33 whip. Not great numbers. He's been a little bit worse on the road, 4.57 ERA on the road. Surprisingly, because Cincinnati has a hitter-friendly ballpark, but Fenway also is one. In the month of June, 3.67 ERA for Singer, but he had 27 strikeouts and 13 walks. So Singer was not singing, really. He walked too many guys in the month of June, man. So that does worry me a little bit. And the Red Sox have done okay against him in the past. 41 at-bats, 10-1 strikeout walk ratio, but 293 average, 724 OPS. The Red Sox hitters have fairly good numbers against Singer, and he's going up against Dick Fitz for the Red Sox. 4.68 ERA, 1.28 whip. Still does not have a win on the season, and however many starts he's made, I don't even know. 7 starts, something like that. Fitz, he hasn't been good, man. He had 2 bad starts against Anaheim, but maybe he just doesn't do well against Anaheim. I don't know, but in his most recent start, he did a little bit better. He went 4 innings. His most recent start against Anaheim, 6-1 strikeout walk ratio. He did a little bit better, but he gave up 2 home runs, so the home run ball has really hurt Fitz. Recently, he gave up 5 home runs in his last 5 innings in those 2 starts and gave up 7 runs. So he's not pitching well right now, needless to say, despite the 6-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't trust Fitz right now. The Red Sox have lost every single game he's appeared in, which I think were all starts. Cincinnati has never seen him before, so maybe that's a little bit of an edge to Fitz, but he's had that edge throughout the season, and it hasn't really helped. Although, granted, his numbers against Anaheim, those starts against Anaheim are way worse than his other starts. So maybe he'll do a little bit better in this game, but I don't want to bank on it. He's been really bad at home, 10.29 home ERA, although granted, it was mostly because of that 1 inning awful performance against the Anaheim Angels where he gave up 3 home runs. So again, Anaheim really doing a lot of damage there. So how do we want to approach this game? Well, I'm not going to recommend anything on this. It looks like Cincinnati is public, though, with 68% of tickets, only 66% of the cash. And by the way, it's dangerous to market read like this early in the morning for some of these evening baseball games because the market could shift quite a bit. And what I saw earlier this morning, I saw the cash percentage on Cincinnati and the ticket percentage on Boston. But now we see 68% of tickets on the Red Sox and 66% of the cash, or excuse me, 68% of tickets on the Reds and 66% of the cash on the Reds, with the Red Sox sitting at a -115 favorite. So the market read is basically saying Cincinnati's public and that you should look towards the Red Sox side. Personally, I will not be doing that. And the total's up from 9.5 to 10, even though we have 67% of tickets, 58% of the cash on the over there. So the less of the cash percentage on the over, but the total is high for a reason, man. Probably expecting potentially another high-scoring game here. I think both starting pitchers are a little bit untrustworthy, and I don't trust the bullpens either. So, an over might still make sense in this game. I would not want to play the Red Sox in this game either, though, even though Fitz might have a little bit of an edge just because he's the unfamiliar pitcher, and the Red Sox have done fairly well against Singer, so that might be the reason why the market read looks like it is on the Red Sox. And by the way, I forgot to mention yesterday, this is Terry Francona returning to Boston here, as he is the manager of the Reds now. Always liked Francona. I mean, I think he's a good dude. I think he was probably the best manager the Red Sox ever had. I wish they had him back. I think he's way better than Alex Cora. I like Francona a lot. I mean, of course, everybody's going to think that in Boston, of course, because he was the guy that got the Red Sox their first World Series in 86 years in his first year with the Red Sox as manager. So, but I believe they won 3 World Series in his tenure as well, so that's pretty good. Or I forget when he was gone. Maybe it was 2. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, shout out to Francona. Milwaukee at the Mets. This is going to be the other play, and I'm going to fade the public here too, and I'm going to go with Milwaukee money line here, and I'm going to suck it up and go with the worst bullpen here too with Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee has the worst bullpen, but I think they have a big starting pitching edge in this game, even though it might not look like it on the surface. I like the spot for Milwaukee. I like the pitching matchup, and at least the bullpens are rested, man. So Milwaukee does have their best relievers available. Both bullpens rested here. The Mets have been struggling recently, man. I just think we can jump on this train and maybe fade the Mets for a little bit longer because they have not been playing well, even though I know it's no longer Pride Month, so maybe the Mets' Pride celebration, the fact they started playing really poorly after their awful Pride celebration, maybe that'll end because it's a new month now, but I'm going to go the other way with this. So I'm going to bank on Mets still struggling here. Their bullpen was struggling as part of that too, even though, yes, generally they do have the better bullpen. Both offenses are good, but Milwaukee actually has a better offense on the road. So that's one thing to consider. And Milwaukee does play better on the road offensively. The Mets just got swept by Pittsburgh. So I think the public is going to look at that and think, well, now they're back at home. They're embarrassed. They're going to turn it around and do a lot better, right? But I'm not quite sure that it works that way. I know it was a short road trip. They only went to Pittsburgh, 1 series road trip. It is still a road trip return, though. And the thing that I like about the Mets as far as the motivation is concerned here, that kind of tips the scales on this one, this is a playoff revenge scenario for Milwaukee, man. The reason why I like Milwaukee, I mean, Milwaukee, they got eliminated last year, man. The Mets are the team that ended Milwaukee's season last year. So Milwaukee's going to remember that, man. So this is and I think the Mets might have swept them too. I don't even remember. I forget. Maybe it was a 5-game series and the Mets won 2 out of 3. Or no, that doesn't even make sense, right? Was it? Yeah. Wait, what? Or yeah, it was a 5-game series and the Mets won all 3, I think is what happened. Yeah. I don't know. I'm my mind is all messed up right now. But anyway, this is a revenge spot, though. I mean, the Mets are the team that ended Milwaukee's season last year, man. So I think Milwaukee's going to show up here. This is the first time they're playing the Mets since the Mets ended their season last year. So I think it's a little bit extra motivation for the Mets. I still think it's not a good spot for, it's a little bit extra motivation for Milwaukee. Why do I keep saying the Mets? It's extra motivation for Milwaukee playing against the Mets who ended their season. I apologize, man. I'm just so out of it right now. The Mets, I mean, they've been playing bad baseball, dude. They've won 3 games going all the way back to, I don't know when this was, the series against Washington a long, long time ago. They have not been playing well, so we're going to jump on that train as well here. Milwaukee has Freddie Peralta pitching. He's their best starter, 2.9 ERA, 1.13 whip. Yeah, he is worse on the road, so we do have to worry about that a little bit. 4.02 ERA on the road. So he definitely does pitch better at home. But I still think we could jump in on him here. He had a good month of June. His team won his last 3 starts, 3.21 ERA in the month of June, 32-8 strikeout walk ratios. He was still pitching well. He had command. His last outing, he had 8 strikeouts, no walks. And usually the walks are a little bit of an issue with Peralta. He dominated. I think I gave out Milwaukee as a play in that game against Pittsburgh, and they were able to win that game and cover the run line pretty easily. And Peralta was coming off playing the Cubs, which is a much bigger start. And he pitched fairly well in that game too. So I like how this sets up. Peralta's been pitching pretty well. And even though he's facing a potent Mets offense, this Mets offense has been struggling, and Peralta has good numbers against them. 63 at bats. He's held to a 143 average, although a 604 OPS is a little bit higher than you'd expect with a 143 average, because he does have a 16-10 strikeout walk ratio against them. And allowed 3 home runs against them, but really the walks are kind of the issue there again with Peralta. He's got to keep those walks in check, but I think he can do it. And he's going up against a guy who has problems with walks himself, Clay Holmes. His numbers look good on the season, man, so the public is going to look at this and probably want to take the Mets to bounce back because the Mets have the better record. Excuse me, and they're just generally the more public team, the bigger market. 2.97 ERA for Holmes, 1.24 whip, so his numbers look pretty good on the season. His whip a little bit higher than I'd like. Home road splits are not that significant, a little bit higher of an ERA at home. Yes, I know the Mets have won 4 of his last 6 games, but looking at his numbers, I don't trust them, man. He had a 2.93 ERA in the month of June. That's good, but 19-12 strikeout walk ratio is really bad. In his last 2 outings, I know they were both against the Braves, but I mean, he was stepping up in class to face the Braves because the previous starts, he'd faced the White Sox, Colorado twice, the Rays. I mean, those are not great offenses. He stepped up in class to face Atlanta and didn't do well. In 2 starts, he had 7 strikeouts and 10 walks against Atlanta. So Holmes is not in good form right now. He's walking way too many guys. So he somehow was not allowing a lot of damage, not allowing a lot of runs, which I know has been the case all season. He's allowed more than 300 runs twice all season. I get that. But I think this could be a struggle for him, man. He's walking too many guys. At some point, there's going to be some Holmes regression here, man. Yeah, Milwaukee's not that familiar with him. They've only seen him 12 times. So we are banking on the more familiar starter here. So that might be a little bit of an issue, but still, Holmes hasn't been that great against Milwaukee, and their offense is good. In 12 at-bats, I understand Yelich is the only hitter that has any hits off him, but still, they have a 250 average, 2.2 strikeout walk ratio, and 774 OPS with a couple of doubles there from Yelich. Both doubles and both walks are from him as well. But, yeah, I mean, I'm going to bank on it and go with Freddie Peralta here, man, and go with Milwaukee, the team that's playing a bit better. We do see the line dropped from minus 130 to minus 118 on the Mets, so some money line movement came in against the Mets, although I do see 51% of tickets, 60% of the cash on the Mets now, which worries me a little bit because I saw more of a public ticket percentage earlier on the Mets with the money coming in the other way. But it does still look like the money line is kind of fading the Mets here, and I still think the Mets are a public, even though they have been playing better. They still have the slightly better record. One thing to worry about is that the Brewers are only a 500 team on the road, and the Mets are good at home. But the Brewers, they do hit well on the road. So I'm going to go with Peralta over Holmes there, man. I think he is the better pitcher. Hopefully we get some wins here, man. Anaheim at Atlanta. Atlanta, I believe, is just staying at home. Both teams had yesterday off. Atlanta did just have a couple big series against the Mets and Philadelphia. So Atlanta might be in a little bit of a hangover spot after some huge series. Anaheim is coming in flying across country, though, so Anaheim does have to travel, though your first game of a road trip usually are focused, so Anaheim might be in a bit of more of a focused spot here than Atlanta is coming off those big divisional games. Anaheim, even though both bullpens are rested, I don't trust either bullpen really, although Atlanta's is better than Anaheim's. Anaheim is a terrible bullpen, so I don't trust Anaheim's bullpen. I don't trust Tyler Anderson either. 4.41 ERA, 1.37 whip. His numbers have been getting worse and worse. He's really bad on the road, 6.26 road ERA, so this does not look good for Anderson here. In the month of June, he only was able to go 5 or more innings in 2 of the 5 starts. 6.93 ERA, although 24-9 strikeout walk ratio wasn't that bad, but he still didn't pitch that well in the month of June. He is starting to struggle. Against the Atlanta Braves, Anderson has 54 at-bats against them, and they have 6 home runs against him, an 8-6 strikeout walk ratio. Albies hits him really well, 4 for 6 with 3 home runs. He's allowed a 296 average to the Braves as a whole and 1,027 OPS. So Anderson, nothing looks good for the Anderson side of this, man. I would look to fade Anderson in this game, fade Anaheim in this game in some way if you're going to play this game. Fuentes is pitching for the Braves. He's only made 2 career starts, but it's been a struggle for him. He's really young still, 20 years old, so we'll see if he does better as his career progresses. He still has only walked 1 guy, but he's been extremely hittable in 8 1/3 innings, 4 strikeouts, a low strikeout rate. He's allowed 14 hits, 10 earned runs, and 3 home runs. So that's not good, obviously. 10.8 ERA, 1.8 whip. He struggled. He did get through 5 innings against Miami, and then he had a tougher task against the Mets and didn't do well in that start. This is going to be his first home start, so maybe he'll do a little bit better here. But, he is up against Anaheim. I mean, Anaheim's not that great in offense. They're not as good as the Mets are. And, of course, Anaheim has never seen him before, although, actually, I forgot. It looks like maybe Fuentes is actually not pitching in this game. I apologize. I totally forgot because now we see Grant Holmes is pitching, which I think is the reason why Atlanta has gone all the way up from -165 to -190. I think the money line movement is not because money came in on Atlanta. I think it was because Atlanta changed their starting pitcher from Fuentes to Holmes. So I think that's the reason why. That's why I have Holmes' page already up here. So my apologies. Holmes is probably pitching for the Braves here. 3.7 ERA, 1.26 whip. So his numbers are decent this year. He's been better at home, 3.08 ERA at home for Holmes. Last month, 3.51 ERA in June, 39-15 strikeout walk ratio, though. So his walk rate was way too high. Holmes, he's a hard thrower, but he walks too many guys, and Atlanta actually lost 4 of his last 5 starts, although some of it wasn't really his fault. Anaheim does not have a whole lot of at-bats against him. They have 6 at-bats against him, and Wade Jr. is the only hitter that has any hits off him. He has 2 hits off him, 2 for 5. They have 3 strikeouts against him as well. So very small sample size, 333 average, 833 OPS. But Holmes still pretty unfamiliar to Anaheim. So I would probably give Atlanta the advantage in this game. But again, they are up to -190. We see 62% of tickets coming in on Anaheim, but 72% of the cash coming in on the other side on 62% of the cash on Atlanta, 62% of the tickets on Atlanta. Why do I keep doing this? I keep talking about the opponent instead of the team I mean. God damn it, man. Atlanta, 62% of tickets on them, 72% of the cash on Anaheim. So the market read is saying the money is coming in on Anaheim, probably thinking the line is too high. And again, yes, it is kind of a hangover spot for Atlanta. It is more of a focus spot for Anaheim, but I don't think you could trust Anderson at all. The total's pretty high at 9.5. So I think the way to probably look at this is to take Atlanta to go over their team total, man, and just take Atlanta to score off of Anderson and Anaheim's terrible bullpen. Anderson not pitching well, and his numbers against Atlanta are not good. So that's probably the way I would go, is to just not even factor in Atlanta's pitching at all and just go with Atlanta to score in the game. Baltimore is at Texas. Texas lost 10-6 yesterday, so Baltimore getting some revenge there as Texas had beaten Baltimore 2 out of 3 2 series ago. Baltimore showed up yesterday and beat Texas 10-6, although it was a little bit weird because that was a much lower scoring game earlier in the game, and we saw tons of runs scored in extra innings. So, man, if you had the under in this game, that is awful, man, because you had 6 runs scored in the first 9 innings, and then the game wound up 10-6 as you saw, 10 more runs were scored in the, I can do math. 10 more runs scored in the extra innings alone, and very efficient run scoring. We only had 22 hits total, and we saw 16 runs scored. That's highly unlikely as well. So if you had the under in this game, that is a very tough loss there. Just crazy what happened to the bullpens in the game yesterday, and the Orioles actually coming out on top in that game is insane. After the Orioles bullpen blew it after the Orioles had scored. I mean, you score 4 runs in the 10th inning, you're almost guaranteed to win the game. And then Texas, even though their offense is so bad, Baltimore's bullpen is so bad, they blew that. And then Baltimore was able to score, more and win the game, right? Yeah, Baltimore won 10-6. Yeah, that's just insane, dude. So, yeah, whatever happened in that game, or what... Yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. What was it? It was actually 3 runs in the first... Yeah, 3 runs, sorry, in the 10th inning, and then 4 in the 11th. Sorry, that's what it was. But, yeah, whatever. Baltimore's bullpen is terrible. The ghost runner on second is terrible, man. If you have an under and it goes into extra innings, the ghost runner is just a terrible thing. But, yeah, Baltimore's bullpen is terrible. Texas might be able to bounce back here, and I do think Texas has the starting pitching edge and the pitching edge in general here because both bullpens got used yesterday, so you got to still lean to Texas's bullpen as having the edge here as far as the bullpens. Baltimore's bullpen is not good. Brandon Young is going to be pitching for Baltimore. He does not have good numbers so far this year. 7.11 ERA, 1.97 WHIP. Bad numbers. He's only made 3 starts. Hasn't made it past 4 2/3 innings in any of them. Has an 11-9 strikeout walk ratio, which is really bad. And, in his last outing, he faced Texas. So any advantage he might have had where Texas was very unfamiliar with him and Texas's offense isn't that good, he still didn't do well. He gave up 4 runs against them. So Texas did well against him last time, and they're now familiar with him. So that doesn't look good for Young either. On 17 at-bats, he allowed a 294 average to them, 922 OPS, and a lot of home run to Josh Young. So Texas might be able to hit him again here, man, because now they're more familiar with Young. Brandon Young, not Josh Jung or Young there. So anyway, looks bad for Brandon Young here. He's up against the veteran Jacob deGrom, who's having a really nice season, 2.08 ERA, very low, 0.88 WHIP. He's been even better at home with a 1.83 ERA. Texas has won 9 of his last 11 starts. And one of those losses was a good start against the Yankees. So, yeah, I mean, deGrom has been very, very excellent. He has not allowed more than 2 earned runs going all the way back to April 11th in any start. He's been lights out pretty much. In June, 1.41 ERA, 32-6 strikeout walk ratio. His team won every single one of those games that he started. deGrom is just pitching really, really well right now. Against Baltimore, he has dominant numbers as well in 36 at-bats, 15-2 strikeout walk ratio, 0.83 average, and 298 OPS. With 1 home run allowed to Sanchez, but deGrom has pretty much completely dominated Baltimore. So I think you have to give the edge to Texas in this game. Although the money looks like it's coming in against them. The money line's up from -175 to -177. Texas is a pretty big favorite here. 93% of tickets, only 78% of the cash. So the cash percentage looks like it's against Texas, and I don't get it. I don't understand why. And the odds makers are telling you it's a low-scoring game as well. Total line at 7.5, now down to 7. 88% of tickets on the over, because, of course, everybody sees yesterday's game. They're going to want to go over on this game, but I just don't. I mean, I don't really see the under making sense that much in this game, even though deGrom obviously is a very good pitcher. 86% of tickets, or 86% of cash, on the over. So it looks like the over is public with less of the money coming in on the over. So the market read is saying Baltimore and under. I think under first 5 innings, maybe, just because you have deGrom in there, but I wouldn't trust Young, man, with the way that he pitched last time out. deGrom did also just see Baltimore, by the way, so he might do a little bit worse this time out because Baltimore just saw him. but he dominated them. 7 innings, 1 hit, allowed 7 strikeouts, no runs, 2 walks. So he had a dominant performance there. I expect kind of more of the same in this one. Even though when an offense has just seen a pitcher, they usually do better the next time out. But I think that's going to be more, that's going to have more of an effect on Young, because when it's a pitcher that a team has never seen before and they see them once, that really helps them more. I mean, everybody's seen DeGrom at this point, so it's going to be a little bit less of a factor for DeGrom, I think. So I would be leaning to Texas in this game in some way. Maybe Baltimore to go under their team total, because everybody's, the money's coming in on the under. Everybody saw a high-scoring game yesterday, so Baltimore under the team total might actually make the most sense there. You have to worry about Texas's bullpen not being totally rested, but still, that might be the way to look there. Cleveland is at the Chicago Cubs. Cubs are returning home from a road trip, but they went to St. Louis and Houston, and they're facing a pretty bad Cleveland team, so the Cubs might not be totally focused here. Again, it's a return home spot. Never a great spot, really. Cleveland coming off 4 straight losses at home, including getting shut out 3 of those 4 games. So Cleveland might be very advantageous to Cleveland to just go out on the road. Just forget about that. You've been playing horribly at home. You have a day off. Just break that losing momentum. Get pissed. Go on the road. So the spot looks pretty decent for Cleveland, but I do not like the starting pitching matchup for Cleveland here, man. And I don't really love Cleveland's bullpen either. I mean, the Cubs' bullpen has been a little bit better recently, so the Cubs' bullpen isn't really that bad. So you have 2 okay bullpens here. Gavin Williams is pitching for Cleveland. 3.68 ERA is good, but a 1.43 whip is not. He's been basically pretty much the same home and road, but his whip indicates that he should be giving up a lot more runs, man. And the same thing in June in 5 starts. He had a 2.57 ERA, but his team lost 3 of those games because they can't score, and he had a 20-13 strikeout walk ratio, which is awful. I don't understand how you can walk that many guys, not be a strikeout pitcher, and get away with this and not allow that many runs. I don't get it. He's just, again, he's not giving up a lot of runs, and it's because, partially, I think it's because he's one of those pitchers that has like a pretty decently high ground ball rate. So I think that's part of the reason why. Some of these pitchers can kind of escape putting men on base if they induce a lot of ground balls. Up against the Cubs, not a lot of history here. The Cubs only have 2 hitters who have ever seen him before, but they have hit 400 off him with a 1,400 OPS. Bush has a home run off him. So Williams, in a very small sample size, hasn't done well against the Cubs, even though the Cubs are a bit unfamiliar with him. But I don't know if that's going to help a guy like Williams, man, who's just not that good. He's going up against Matthew Boyd, which is going to be interesting because Boyd might be a little bit pumped up. As you can see here in this video here that they have, Boyd was on Cleveland last year, man. So Cleveland is the team that got rid of him. So when you have a starting pitcher like this who faces the team that got rid of them for the first time, a lot of times that pumps them up a little bit further. So I think from a motivational standpoint, Boyd might be pretty excited to face the team that got rid of him, be pretty excited to show them, what he can do. Although, of course, Cleveland is going to be familiar with how he pitches, but even so, they haven't really had to face him in a real game environment. They haven't seen him in a while, and, the Cubs might have changed some things related to his dynamics. So I think, I think Boyd might be pumped up for this, and he's pitching well this year. 2.65 ERA, 1.1 whip. He's been pretty good at home, 2.41 ERA at home as well. The month of June, he was quite good, 1.78 ERA in 5 starts, didn't allow more than 200 runs in any start, went at least 6 innings in 4 of the 5, 18-6 strikeout walk ratio. So he's in good form right now. He's pitching quite well. Against Cleveland, he does not have great numbers, though. Some of the hitters have seen him before. 86 at-bats, 9.9 strikeout walk ratio, 5 home runs allowed, although 3 of them are to Jose Ramirez, along with 4 of the walks, but still a 279 average, 871 OPS. So that gives me a little bit of pause. The situation with the Cubs returning home from a road trip and Boyd not having good numbers against Cleveland, that gives me some hesitation, although the money is coming in on the Cubs, up from -155 to -178. 55% of tickets, 91% of the cash coming in on the Cubs. So the money is coming in on the Cubs. Generally, I would say I agree with that market move there on the Cubs. I mean, I do think that the matchup and Boyd, the situation for Boyd, I think that is kind of the determining factor here, but I just don't want to do it because of the situation and Boyd's specific matchup against Cleveland, so I'll stay away from it, but the money is coming in on the Cubs. If you do like the Cubs, there probably, I would say you have to go with a run line, but again, you do a run line at home, you don't get the last at bat in the 9th inning, so take from all that what you will. Houston at Colorado. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Colorado's returning home from a 1-series road trip to Milwaukee. So not a long road trip, but Colorado, I mean, they're a bad team, but Houston's coming in playing pretty well, man. They just swept Philadelphia and won a series against the Cubs, and they won a divisional series against Anaheim prior to that, too. So Houston probably riding a little bit high, even though they are starting a road trip. Might not be the greatest spot for Houston. Could be a little bit of a letdown spot here, facing a bad opponent like Colorado. Colton Gordon is pitching for Houston here. Even though Houston, obviously, they have the better team. They have the better bullpen. Houston is definitely the better team. But Colton Gordon, I mean, he's going to be a little bit of a question mark in this game, I think, man. He has a 3.98 ERA. 1.3 whip is a bit high. He's been better on the road, 3.52 ERA. But the problem is he's pitching in Coors Field, and he is very much a fly ball pitcher, and he's allowed 8 home runs this year in only 40 2/3 innings, 83 fly balls allowed. So he's allowed a lot of fly balls, and I don't think that bodes well for a game in Coors Field, man. So you do not want to be a fly ball pitcher like that in Coors Field. So I worry about Gordon here, even though overall he has been pitching well. He had a good month of June where his team won 3 of his 4 starts, 2.14 ERA, 18-2 strikeout walk ratio. So he was pitching well in June. Including against Philadelphia, and that's the game he's coming off of. Houston has won 6 of his 8 starts, and he has a 38-5 strikeout walk ratio this season, although he's allowed too many hard hits, man. Too many home runs and 48 hits in the 40 2/3 innings, so he's allowing too many hits. So there are some things to worry about a little bit with Colton Gordon, even though the Rockies have never seen him before. We're going to have 2 pitchers that are completely unfamiliar to the opposing hitters here, as Dollander is pitching for Colorado. He's in his rookie season, and they're just kind of throwing him to the wolves, man. He has not been pitching well. 6.06 ERA, 1.43 whip. His ERA is worse at Coors Field with an 8.54 ERA. That's not good. In the month of June, 5.7 ERA and 11-9 strikeout walk ratio. So he was still struggling, not pitching well. So even though Dollander is unfamiliar to Houston, he's not pitching well either. So I think probably I'd be looking to maybe look towards an over, even though both offenses aren't that good. The total was out at 12 because the odds makers are realizing they have to line these totals really high at Colorado, even more so than usual. It's dropped to 11 with juice on the over, 76% of tickets on the over, only 58% of the cash on the over. But, I mean, I think an over might be worth a look here just because I don't love how either pitcher shapes up in this game. 74% of tickets, only 70% of the cash on Houston. So Houston's very public, and they're down from -175 to -150. So a pretty strong market read on taking Colorado at the underdog price. Again, I'm not sure about that, although Gordon, definitely a fly ball pitcher. It might not play well in this field, like I said. But one thing you do have to worry about if you do play the over is that you have offenses that are not that good, and Houston's bullpen is pretty good, so that is something to be concerned about a little bit. So it's not a game I would want to get involved in. Kansas City at Seattle. Seattle won yesterday, unfortunately, 6-2, busting my under in that game. Both bullpens didn't see a lot of usage yesterday, so we do have two pretty decent bullpens coming into this one, but the starting pitching is not that decent here. Lorenzen is pitching for Kansas City. He hasn't been very good. 4.91 ERA, 1.38 whip. He's been worse on the road, 5.68 ERA, even though I know Seattle is a much more pitcher-friendly park. But Lorenzen generally has been bad on the road, and he's allowed 11 home runs on the road, although maybe that's less of a concern in this park. But still, he's not pitching well. He didn't pitch well in June in 5 starts, even though his team somehow won 3 of those 5. Somehow he was able to get run support behind him, shockingly, because Kansas City can't hit. So I don't know how Lorenzen gets that much run support behind him. He has 6.31 ERA in June, 21-9 strikeout walk ratio, not good. His numbers are just not good overall. Gave up 6 home runs in June. So I don't trust Lorenzen at all. His numbers aren't great against Seattle either. In 34 at-bats, he's allowed 3 home runs to 3 different hitters. Of course, Raleigh is one of them. 7-7 strikeout walk ratio, 265 average, allowed 949 OPS. So I think Lorenzen is going to continue to struggle here. He's going up against Emerson Hancock, who has not been pitching well either for the Mariners. 5.3 ERA, 1.42 WHIP. I mean, his name just makes him sound like he's like, I don't know, in a law firm or something, or maybe he's a transcendentalist, transcendentalist writer. I don't even get it, man. Terrible name. Or maybe he's a signer of the Declaration of Independence or something. I don't know. He's a founding father, man. What is confounding is the fact that his ERA is actually even worse in this pitcher-friendly park at home. 5.76 ERA at home. Hancock has not been pitching well this year, man. He's given up 15 home runs. That's not good. In the month of June, 4.73 ERA, 20-12 strikeout walk ratio. So he did not pitch well in June, although he did have one really bad start against the Cubs, who are really good offense. And other than that, his starts weren't really that bad. He allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in the other 4 starts that month, although his team still lost almost all of them. So I don't know what we're doing here with Hancock, man. I don't know what we want to do. His walk numbers are still bad. Against the Royals, 14 at-bats against the Royals, 286 average, allowed 786 OPS. So I don't love Hancock here either. So it might be a situation where you go over the total in this one. It's gone up a little bit from 8 to 8 with juice on the over, although 85% of tickets on the over and 61% of the cash on the over. So the cash looks like it's not agreeing with that, but I don't think you could trust either starting pitcher there. San Francisco at Arizona. I've got to finish this, man. Arizona unfortunately won yesterday, but of course we know Arizona has the worst bullpen and the better offense here, so you got to figure all this out. Birdsong pitching for San Francisco here. 4.13 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. That's not good. He's been a little bit better on the road, but not very significantly so. And he's in a very hitter-friendly park here, and he was not good in the month of June. San Francisco lost his last 3 starts. He has 21-12 strikeout walk ratio is what he had in June. 6.38 ERA in June. Got blasted by Miami in his last outing in June. Didn't even make it 5 innings in 3 of those 5 starts. Didn't do well against the Red Sox in the second to last start either. So Birdsong not pitching well. Against Arizona, 30 at-bats. Has given up 3 home runs, although 2 of them are Suarez. 9-6 strikeout walk ratio, 267 average, allowed 1,022 OPS. Birdsong, I mean, I don't trust him here. He's not in good form. His numbers are not good against Arizona. Zach Gallen pitching for Arizona. I keep saying he should be better than he's doing this year. 5.75 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. He's been awful this year, and he's been even worse at home, 6.29 ERA. But I expect him to somehow turn this around at some point, man. 6.23 ERA in June, though. 22-10 strikeout walk ratio. He was not good in June. He's not in good form either. Coming off giving up 7 runs at Coors Field, although it is Coors Field. 5 runs against the White Sox. Not a good offense. He's allowed at least 4 runs in his last 4 starts. So he hasn't been pitching well either. Against San Francisco, he has good numbers, though. 96 at-bats, 208 average, 682 OPS. That's pretty good, except he's walked too many again. 29-17 strikeout walk ratio. So what do we want to do with this game? Given that both pitchers are just pitching so poorly, I would say probably an over. Total's gone up a little bit from 9 to 9.5. 78% of tickets, 96% of the cash on the over. I know San Francisco has a bad offense and a good bullpen, but I think with both starting pitchers not pitching well at all recently, I think an over makes sense. And then to finish it off, Dodgers against the White Sox. Very, uninteresting game, I think. Although the starting pitching matchup is somewhat interesting. Dodgers returning over from a road trip. They went to Colorado and then the Royals, so it is somewhat of a bad spot. Dodgers returning over from a road trip, going back to the Pacific Coast and having to face Chicago. Chicago is starting a road trip, so it could be more of a focus spot for the White Sox. And they have some momentum after beating San Francisco a couple of times, so it is a better spot for the White Sox. Of course, the White Sox have the way worse offense and the worst bullpen here. They do have Shane Smith on the mound. He's been okay. 3.38 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, not bad. Better on the road, 2.55 ERA on the road, but he's been starting to slip, man, with a 5.6 ERA in June, 14-9 strikeout walk ratio in June. Last 2 starts allowed 5 runs in each of them and didn't go more than 4 1/3 in either of them, and they lost both games. So Smith starting to regress a little bit, even though the Dodgers have never seen him before, and he is a good young rookie pitcher, so he might have a little bit of an edge because the Dodgers have never seen him before. I'm not sure the edge is going to be that significant. He's not in good form right now. And he's going up against Yamamoto, who obviously is having a good season. 2.61 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's been worse at home, though. 3.71 ERA at home, so a little bit more hittable at home. A month of June, he was actually a little bit worse as well. 4.21 ERA, 26-11 strikeout walk ratio. And the Dodgers lost 4 of his 5 starts. So Yamamoto proving to be human here, but he is up against a very bad White Sox lineup here, and they have actually never seen it before either. So Yamamoto probably has the edge here, where both starting pitchers have never been seen before. Probably the Dodgers have got to have the edge here in basically every aspect of this game, but you're laying a huge price. They're down from minus 325 to minus 321. 92% of tickets, 97% of the cash. Money coming in on the under the 8.5, even though it went up from 8 to 8.5. 60% of tickets, 61% of the cash on the under. So the way that I would do this is probably White Sox team total under is probably the way to look at this game, man. Expecting Yamamoto to do well against them where they're not familiar with him. He is the much more proven pitcher of the two, and the White Sox lineup is just awful. So White Sox team total under, excuse me. Why do I keep saying the opposite of what I mean? White Sox team total under is probably the way to look at this, so that you're probably going to have to ask them to score like 2 or fewer runs in the game. That's going to do it, man. So the plays I've given out one more time are Twins, Marlins under the total in the full game, 7.5, and Milwaukee Brewers at a little bit of an underdog price. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. GiveSendGo.com/TowerGame. Toad is still up if you want to throw some support. You can tip me through Twitter. Patreon.com/TowerGame if you still want to support Tower Gang, even though it's defunct right now. You can still get all the bonus content that's out there right now. Bettor Off Dead is now on Instagram, so you can check that out. You can check out Covered in Uke, which is my Uke channel, which I'm going to start posting to and doing some things with that probably. Stay tuned. And a Patreon will probably be up at Learn to Toad, patreon.com/Learn to Toad. I'm going to probably have some different support tiers there, and most of them related to ukulele stuff. So if you want to support me, stay tuned, because that is going to be an option as well. Have a good one, everybody, and peace. Thanks for hanging out.